世界ボイス。
Sky Voice.
In America, you're a little bit more free to say whatever on your mind, even if people disagree. Here, I kind of got the vibe of like, be more respectful, be quiet, etc.
One of the very strange things is in Japan, people always say yes. They always say yes, even if they mean no.
My name is Justin Hendricks. I am 43. I am from California. So the west coast of the United States. I come from kind of the San Francisco Bay Area, Sacramento, for those who know California. I'm a writer, author. Life experiences, basically. I write kind of quirky philosophical books about me traveling. Because basically I got diagnosed with a terminal illness 10 years ago. I'm told I have 3 years to live. So for the past 10 years, I've been traveling around the world, backpacking, walking as much as I can. Yeah, like one leg is shrunk. I have a Lou Gehrig's disease. Yeah, I mean, I'm probably literally healthier now than I was before. So, I mean, I'll eventually be in a wheelchair. So I try to walk now as much as possible, you know, like get my walking done while I can. So basically, my legs will give out. I'll lose the ability to talk. You know, like Stephen Hawking. I don't know if I have what Stephen Hawking has. So eventually I'll be less mobile. So I try to be like as walking and talking as possible these days. There is no recovery. I'm a terminal downslope of my life. So basically I'll get nothing but worse health-wise. There is no cure. Doctors said I had on average, I think it was 39 months. That was 10 years ago. I immediately hit the road. I drove 26,000 miles around the United States, Mexico, Europe. Came back and they said like I'm as healthy as I've ever been because you know, exercising, walking is actually great exercise. So they said I'll be walking for another probably 5 to 10 years. So I'm trying to take advantage of it while I can. I mean, I'm happy. I enjoy making people laugh. You know, making funny faces at children, etc. Get them to smile, you know, like it's a good, wonderful thing. So I've now been to I think probably 40 countries all over the world. This is my second time circumnavigating the globe. So if before I die all I do is make children smile, then isn't that enough, you know? I have one book on Amazon and I'm working on my second book. Basically, you know, just what it's like to be diagnosed with a terminal illness, how easy it is to travel and meet people and chit chat, and like, you know, the world isn't as scary as most Americans seem to think. So I mostly I get money from the government and I try to do uplifting things, at least that's worth it. You know, like I'm not just being a lazy person, I'm actually like trying to help people. Well, I actually was just about to start this, so I'll continue this. So basically, I'm making a book of paper cranes. I'm going to go to Nagasaki. So I've already rang the peace bell at Hiroshima the last time I was in Japan. This time I'm going to go to Nagasaki and ring the peace bell, and then I'm going to drop this off there as a gift. So I'm currently in the process of, I have to draw 1,000 paper cranes. Other than that, I was mostly just trying to eat good food. I love Japanese food. So eat, you know, sushi, curry, noodles, they're all fantastic. And I rented a bicycle, so I've been riding around to all the major monuments. So I've been to the Tokyo Tower, Sky Tower, Ueno Park. I've been to the Sumo Arena, and basically I'm in Akihabara because you know, I'm a nerd. So I really like that Tokyo seems really set up for walking and biking. Right, like you don't, or even like the public transportation is really fantastic, and it's really easy to understand. Like, you know, on a map, I thought it'd be extremely complicated because there's so many train systems, but it's really set up for tourism. Like, it's extremely easy to travel here. Everybody's really friendly and really helpful. If you get lost or something like that, somebody's willing to help. So I enjoy Tokyo mostly because it's just a perfect tourist destination. Just prior to the pandemic, I circumnavigated the globe. I traveled all the way around the planet. This one about a month and a half ago. So I've been to, I traveled through the United States, and then I went to Cape Town, South Africa, Dubai, Kathmandu, Hong Kong, and now Tokyo. So basically, the pandemic was happening just as I was traveling. So literally, I was in Australia when I think here in Japan there was like that cruise ship that was docked that had like a bunch of people on it. So I was traveling like literally just ahead of the pandemic. I left Italy just as it closed its borders, like literally the day of. So I was at the airport with all the flights being canceled as the pandemic hit Italy. And then I departed Portugal to go back to the United States just as the United States shut its borders. So I barely made it back to the United States before like the pandemic happened. So I spent the pandemic in Hawaii. So that was where I was living at the time. And in Hawaii, they completely closed their borders. So nobody in, nobody out. Hawaii just shut down, which the economy then completely crashed. After the pandemic and the lockdown, me and my wife traveled to the United States mainland, and then we bought an Airstream trailer and like an RV. I don't know if you know what that is. So we spent 2 years traveling around the United States freely, just go wherever we want to go, etc. She had a good opportunity with her job, and I get paid no matter where I'm at. So for 2 years, we traveled like gypsies, I say, around the United States. We went to 46 of the lower 48 United States and 2 Canadian provinces. And then we went back to California so that my wife could go back to her job because, you know, pandemic had passed. She's a nurse. She works at a hospital. So she went back to work, and I was bored out of my mind. So I booked this trip. So I've been traveling for about a month and a half so far, and I have about 2 to 3 weeks left. I'm going to go from here, I'm going to go to Hawaii, and then back to San Francisco. I mean, I come from America, and especially I come from the west coast of America. So like the oldest buildings that we have are like 50 years old, maybe 100 years old, maybe. Whereas here you have shrines and temples that are hundreds of years old. We don't really have anything like this, the Sky Tree or the Tokyo Tower or anything like that. Yeah, we don't have anything like maybe the Needle in Seattle is the only thing I can think of, like kind of similar. But most of the Western United States is still kind of new. You know, like it's new, still building. The San Francisco area is kind of a, you know, it's the tech industry, so there's a lot of money. So it's being revamped a little bit. Like it's one of the few cities in the United States that I noticed that has bicycles and pedestrians and cars all kind of working together. So, you know, we don't really have old buildings. We don't have old temples. We don't have old shrines. Everything's kind of still newish in the United States. So it's a pleasant change, I would say. Americans like their own ideas. So cars, it's like a birthright for most Americans. You know, we view it as like so much a part of our culture. Muscle cars, large SUVs, big trucks, you know, driving off road, going with huge tires, mudding and stuff like that. You know, even motorcycles, Harley Davidson, all that stuff. So going to a culture that isn't based on that is a bit strange for Americans, I think. We're not used to it. We don't know how to function, really. Of like, if you can't rent a car, what do you do? Like, I don't know how to walk around a city. You know, a lot of people don't really know how to do that. The number one thing for Americans is safety, which this is like the safest I've ever felt in any city. Yeah, it would never happen, right? Whereas in America, it happens like almost every day, right? So Americans are pretty obsessed with safety. You know, they clutch their wallets and their purses thinking that everybody's going to steal them. Even if they're in a city where that's not going to happen, they still just naturally do it. I noticed that I still lock up my bike, even though it's like the only bike that's locked up amongst like a long row of bikes. I still lock up my bike just because I'm used to it. So, you know, Americans, they tend to be like worried that they're going to get robbed, like be stranded in a foreign land, and nobody's going to help them, because in America that tends to be like the vibe a little bit, is you're on your own. And last night, you know, seeing the festivals on the street of like all the lanterns hanging and stuff like that, the large drums that they were banging and stuff like that. So it's very much a vibe of an old culture or religion that we just don't have it in America. Like, I don't know how to describe it. We don't have that in America, where like we decorate the streets for like Halloween and Christmas, but like seeing other cultures do the same thing in their own way, I think is fantastic. I think it's lovely. Whereas, in America, we just don't really have that. Like, we don't have like street fairs as often and stuff like that, right? So like, there's not stuff going on in the streets. It's usually you have to pay an entrance fee to go look at something, and that's about all you can do. So it's basically all money based. Whereas here, I just really riding my bike on the street, I ran into several celebrations that I just wanted to sit there and watch. Like, just park my bike, sit there, enjoy the show. It's kind of nice. I'm gonna go ahead and say Americans really, really love their freedom of speech, and I value that greatly. So basically, it is strange to me, being in a foreign land, I have to watch what I say. I have to not cuss. I have, I try to be more respectful and stuff like that. In America, you're a little bit more free to say whatever on your mind, even if people disagree. You can still say whatever you think. You can dance on the street. You can sing. Whereas, here I kind of got the vibe of like, be more respectful, be quiet, etc. So I would say freedom of speech, America.
My name is Remo. I'm 31. I'm a manager in Hilton Hotels in London. Well, I came in London to study. I finished my bachelor degree. I finished my master degree, and I'm working as well at the same time. It's a MBA, Master Business Administration. Well, let's say overall a business. Yeah, but my MBA, the Master Business Administration, I gave my thesis and I will know the result in 2 months. So if everything will be okay, I will graduate in 2 months. Fingers crossed. Okay, sure. I'm here because I like technology. I like food. I like ramen. I love ramen and sushi as well. But I found out the ramen I really like much. And also, I have a lot of tourists from Japan. They are very, very nice. And it's okay, let me travel because it makes me feel very comfortable. And when I came here, actually, the people are very nice. They're very polite. The food is very nice. It's then I like a huge city, urbanized, a lot of buildings. Yeah, a lot of buildings, skyscrapers. So that's I like. I like a live city. And Tokyo, yes. That's why I think it's one of the biggest city it's the biggest city in the world in terms of population. And yeah, it's mind blowing. Yeah. Now I have 3 days left, but I've been in Tokyo for 5 days, few days in Osaka, and 1 day in Kyoto. There will be 10 days. Yeah. Very, very. I can catch up. It's so firstly, when you ask for help, they also willing to help you, and it's very clean. It's very clean. And nobody, throws things away. That's I really like. When you are in a shopping markets, for example, but there are also a lot of restaurants in Japan. The waiter, the person who's outside, it doesn't invite you. It doesn't say come here, come over here, which I find very nice. They, in Italy especially, very, very much. They just say come here, and I don't like really much because it just bothers me. If I don't want to come, why I should come? You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. I have been in many places, and yeah, even Spain, Canary Islands, in Cuba, Thailand. Thailand is a little bit different, but they're still not inviting you. But in Europe, is much, much more harder. And in Japan, it's not, which I really like, which I really recommend. Yeah. And then if you like shopping, it's very nice because you can shop a day, you can shop an evening, you can shop at night. So first of all, they're very nice. They're one of the nicest people that's why also they inspired me to come here as well, to double check if all Japanese people are very nice. Most of them, the people that they come from Japan, they do speak English. I had my flatmate, she's from Osaka. We lived together for 6 months, and now she's back to Osaka. Well, unfortunately, we didn't meet yet. Yeah, it is. London is very expensive. Well, you can, it depends. If you are a manager or more, maybe, yeah, you can have a very nice studio flat. But in the central London, in like King's Cross or Westminster, where the Big Bang is, they're super expensive. So they, it's very, it can be maybe, now in yen, I don't know. Anyway, it's very expensive. It's more than a salary, yeah. Very well. Now it's going back because after COVID, yeah, of course, everything was slowed down everywhere. So now it started to go back again, and tourism is, yeah, it's increased since the pandemic, yeah. Yeah, well, I have been just for a few days, not much, but so far, yes, working very well. For example, if in terms of tourism, so the transportation is very good. I like London as well. In London as well, we have a very good transport. It's very, very similar. The only thing that is much bigger, but it's actually working very well. Very fast, very organized, which make the travel to travel very well. Yeah, comfortable, yeah. Well, yeah, that's the main thing. And then maybe, yeah, there are a lot of other comfortable way where you go to see attractions. It's very easy for communication in terms of, in terms of signs. You can see the sign. It's made it very, very good to understand where to go. The culture that you have going for food, going for ramen, go to the restaurant, eat ramen close by the chef, and then go away. That's very nice. Yeah, I enjoyed in a ramen, and also like robe kobe, grilled. Yeah, but in the ramen I really enjoy as well, especially pork in ramen. Yeah, Shibuya, yeah, crosswalk at night is very lively, or Shinjuku, if you want to have experience to the tiny restaurants over there.
My name is Philip. I'm 71. I'm retired. I was involved in the building trade. I was here in May, and I decided to come back because I only spent 3 days in Tokyo, and I felt I needed much more time here to understand how the city worked and just to get used to things. Oh, May, I was on an organized trip. I'd come back alone, and just by myself. May, we went to Kyoto, we went to Nara, we went to Kanazawa. We traveled a lot, but we didn't spend much time in one place. I wanted to come to Japan. I had booked to come in 2020. There was the pandemic. Then I booked to do the Nagasenko walking trail, cancelled because of COVID restrictions. So in May, I came with a group to sightsee because I couldn't get a walk. I wanted to walk. I wanted to hike originally. Stay 2 weeks in Tokyo. I love the food. Food is wonderful. Really, really, it's so different to the Japanese food we get in Europe. And I feel very healthy here, so that's good. And just to see the city, I've never been to a city in the world like Tokyo. It's huge. It's massive. Yeah, it's massive. Much bigger than London, much bigger than New York. The high-rise, the tall buildings. In London we have them, but they're grouped together. Here it's everywhere. And also I wanted to see museums here. That's the most disappointing thing. I can see better Japanese art in London than in Tokyo. No, I've been to museums. For instance, the Hokusai Museum here, they're copies. It's amazing. We don't do that in Europe. It's amazing. I love Hokusai, especially went to the Hokusai Museum. I think there is no original at all there. They're all copies, digital copies. Very good copies, but they're copies. I want to see the originals. Also, you cannot take pictures in Japanese museums. They want to sell postcards. In Europe, we don't have postcards anymore. You can take pictures everywhere. The best thing I've seen recently is the Yves Saint Laurent exhibition at the National Art Museum. Amazing. Oh, there are lots of differences. There are a lot of differences. Well, for a Westerner, it's a very confusing city because there are very few street signs. You have to know the area you want to go to, then you can work it out. The metro system is brilliant, and that is very logical, very logical. Colors and numbers, wonderful. The fact there are lavatories everywhere, brilliant. In London, we have practically no public lavatories, and when we do, they're very dirty. There are no rubbish bins here, but that's good because people don't drop it. In London, we have trash cans and we have rubbish everywhere, so that's good. I see no beggars here. I see no people I know there are homeless people. I've seen one so far. It's amazing. It must be different areas, but in London, you see them in the shop doorways nearby a lot in London, and I've been across Tokyo. I don't see them. I loved all the shrines and the temples. Very nice way of calming down. You can just go and sit and be peaceful. That's wonderful. We have churches in Europe and in London, and they're open. But of course, you're inside, not outside. One of the very strange things is in Japan, people always say yes. They always say yes, even if they mean no. So you have to ask the question two ways. We have a lovely little song from the war in London. Yes, we have no bananas today. Yes, but we have no bananas. In the war in London, there were no bananas, but I feel often here, I ask something, they say yes. They don't want to say no. They don't want to say no, yeah? So it's confusing sometimes. It's not always positive, that's it. But that's a small thing, and I get used to it now. Sometimes I ask the question two ways. Some of the politeness is very formulaic. People in Europe can be very nice or very horrible, but they are more flexible. One of the other things which is very nice for Europeans, there is no dog mess. People pick up their dog mess. No, in Italy, no. In London, 50%. And the other thing is, in England, people smoke. You can smoke not inside, but smoke outside, and they leave the cigarettes everywhere. Here you see no cigarettes because there are only certain places where you can smoke. So that's very nice. The wonderful thing about Japan is it's very controlled. It's very logical. And I can understand why it's so controlled because there are so many people. But I was in a cinema and I laughed, and the lady in front turned around and she was not pleased. She looked like a dragon. She was not happy, and it was a French film, and I speak French, and it was very funny. I have yet to see somebody read a newspaper. I have not seen one person read a newspaper. That's very different to Europe. We still have newspapers. In London, we have a free newspaper in the morning and the evening, and people read it on the metro. Here they don't, but it doesn't matter. People play games here. I see they're shopping or they're playing games. In London, we don't have good internet on the metro, so everything is just different. But I've had a wonderful time. I've learned always to have water. I've learned always to have an umbrella. Plastic everywhere. This morning I wanted a second cup of coffee. I said, please use the same paper mug. And she said, no. In Europe, we are encouraged to take a mug to Starbucks. There's a lot of trash. They burn it, but there's a lot of plastic everywhere. Plastic. I'm amazed. In Europe, we try and use much less. We really do. One of the other strange things you may not realize, nobody hoots their car. Nobody makes noise, hoot, wet in their cars. Nobody. Very quiet. In Europe, people get very upset and angry and go fast and hoot. No, I don't want to go either. I have an interesting. I went to the fish market, and the university students were doing an experiment for people to learn how to make sushi. So I said, okay, yes, I will do it. Come back in 15 minutes. They say, oh no, it's not ready. Come back in 15 minutes. No, people don't like to say exactly when to come. That surprised me. They just like to say, no, yeah, that's right. It's the same thing. One of the things you may not realize, Japan does not smell. Europe smells of perfume or cheap perfume or aftershave. Here, people are very clean. In the metro, you don't smell anybody, either good or bad. This is very noticeable. Europe is full of smells. The ladies have all kinds of perfume. Oh, that's very notable, and you may not realize it, but in the bathrooms here are amazing. My hotel is not luxurious, it's modern. I think it was built for the Olympics, but has a bath and a shower. Beautifully designed, wonderfully designed. My hotel room is 16 square meters, I think. It's perfect. Everything is logical and clean and absolutely perfect. Really, really, really nice. Everybody is cleanly dressed. When I came in May, I was fascinated the way people put their laundry, their clothes on the balconies all the time. They want the sun and the air to keep them clean. And today, of course, I went to the Buddhist temple near here, and there were ladies dressed with wonderful hairstyles and beautiful kimonos, and the men in more simple outfit. Some people dress in a very exotic way, and if you go to Ginza, people dress in a very label way. They like to show Balenciaga, Dior, Chanel, and in Europe, if you do that, they will rob you. Here, I feel very safe. I wish they would promote Japanese quality items. There's lots of good Japanese things, which we of course buy in Europe. We like Muji. I don't think you need labels to be stylish. Personally, I don't wear things with names on, ever. Never. Because I come from Europe, I can see some people in the metro have fake bags. They've been to Europe. So I don't think they sell fake Gucci here and fake Prada. But in England, you can buy fake and it looks different. The leather is not good and it ages very differently. Before I came here, I went to view the Freddie Mercury from Queen. They sold his effects at Sotheby's in London. He had the most fabulous collection of Japanese art. Wonderful woodcuts, wonderful kimonos, wonderful ceramics, better than anything I've seen in a museum here. For me, that is the most disappointing thing in Japan, because the museums have got practically nothing. The National Art Museum has got very little Japanese. I went to Midtown Roppongi, and there's a design. The gardens are wonderful. They are so artistic and sensitive. That is really, really nice. And I think the sensitivity to precision and cleanliness, when I get my tray for breakfast, it's a work of art. It's beautiful. Everything is just beautifully put on the various containers. That I really like.